Two people have died in a crash in Cache County. The men were driving when their car was hit. 38-year-old James Fafaro and 50-year-old Keith Odell died at the scene.
Every decision was made together. If he wanted something special from the grocery store or if we were planning a trip, it was always done together. He was everything for me. Keith was my whole world.
Before the incident, I was married with 2 kids, and after he died, I was a single parent. And we were going to grow old together and retire, and he's not going to be there when they get married.
September 22nd, 2006 began like any other day. Jackie Fafaro kissed Jim, her husband of 15 years, goodbye as he left to pick up his colleague Keith Odell on his way to work. By the time Jackie arrived at school 2 hours later, police were waiting for her. They told her Jim had been in an accident.
I saw Jim's license in the hand of one of the police officers, and I realized that he was dead.
An investigator at the crash site suspected texting was involved when he saw the driver of the other vehicle, 19-year-old Reggie Shaw, texting on the way to a mandatory drug and alcohol screening. No drugs or alcohol were found in his system, but sure enough, cell phone records confirmed Reggie had been texting from the time he got into his car up until the moment of the crash. Jackie Fafaro lost her husband, Jim, in that accident, and Megan lost her father, Keith. So what did the police first tell you about what had caused the accident?
They told me that a 19-year-old who was driving a white Tahoe had crossed the center line and clipped my husband, which sent Jim into, an uncontrolled. He was uncontrolled, and he ended up in the oncoming traffic lane and was broadsided by the vehicle behind the 19-year-old, and he was killed instantly along with Keith.
What did you think when you heard that this accident was caused?
I couldn't believe it. Because, just from even being on your phone, you're just so distracted, you don't pay attention to the road. And it was hard to believe that something like that had happened.
What did you think when you heard that?
I was, it's shock, it's dismay, disbelief.
Was it you who insisted that he will have to watch the funeral?
It was, yes. I just wanted him to know who he'd killed, and that was a way for him to get to know, one of the men.
Well, we're going to talk to Reggie, the young man who caused that fatal accident, when we come back. Coming up later, drivers who say they can text and drive, no problem.
I think I have mastered the skills of texting behind the wheel.
What happened when we put them to the test? That's later.
I would like to end my life through physician-assisted suicide.
A controversial request.
By writing that prescription, you were killing that woman.
Pushes 2 doctors to the limit.
What the hell is your problem?
And the ultimate decision.
I just have one question.
Oh, my God.
What if they find a cure?
Becomes personal.
I am not afraid of this. Why are you?
A new episode of Grey's Anatomy.
Distracted driving has become an epidemic in this country with tragic, tragic results. 500,000. Just think about that for a moment, because, we hear these figures on the news. You hear about the car accident, you see it, and if it's not in your family, it doesn't even register. Today, what I'm trying to get for all of us is for it to register. 500,000 people are injured, and 6,000 people that belong to somebody's family are killed because drivers are talking and texting and emailing instead of focusing on the road. And until we as a nation decide we're going to change that, those numbers are only going to go up. Reggie Shaw admits that he was texting when his car crossed a median and clipped another vehicle, sending it into oncoming highway traffic. The two men in the car that Reggie hit, Megan's father and Jackie's husband, were killed instantly. So I really appreciate you having the courage to stand before them and a world of people here today to say that you were guilty of texting. Were you texting or on the phone?
Texting.
You were texting. And how often had you texted?
I would say pretty close to 100% of the time when I drove.
Really?
Not only me, but my friends when I was in high school.
How old are you now?
I'm 20, almost 23.
Almost 23. And you were?
I was 19.
19 when this happened. So it was common. It wasn't even something that you all thought about.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting to me as an older person, you know. I think, to me, it seems so obvious that you can't do it, that you can't do both at the same time. But I know for your generation, that's just what you all do, all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thinks that maybe this isn't a good idea, or maybe we should wait till we get to where we're going to... Everybody just automatically texts and drives.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just never thought about it.
Never thought about it.
I think back now, you know what, that was a poor choice by me.
Yeah.
But...
You know, I don't use the word stupid often, and I'm not calling you stupid, but I do think that for everybody who does that, it's just really a stupid thing to think that you can take your eyes off the road and do that at the same time. So I'm not saying you're stupid. It just seems just illogical to me. So tell me why it never occurred to you.
Growing up, going to high school, going to driver's ed, it was never taught to me how dangerous it was. It was never.
So in driver's ed, they don't talk about it?
Not when I went to school, no. Never once did I hear, Reggie, you text and drive or use your cell phone while driving. This is how dangerous it is. This is the statistics behind it. I was never taught that. It's no excuse for what I did, but...
How did you feel when you realized that you had killed 2 people?
Felt terrible. So, you hear something?
How did you feel when you realized you killed 2 people? How did you feel when you realized you killed 2 people? Because you text
How has this affected your life?
drove. How has this affected your life?
Every day.
It affects my life every day now. It's something I can't get rid of.
Poor choice that I made.
It's a poor choice. It plagues my mind.
I had trouble sleeping at night.
I could have
Drive down
prevented
the
2
road, see
lives
the accidents on the side of the
being
road.
killed
That's the
if
first
I had
thing
only known.
It's hard every day.
It's hard to face life every day now, knowing that I.
But you can use your voice, and I want to say to every single person
Knowing that
watching
I
here
killed
today,
people.
you are on your cell phone.
You can use your voice.
For every single person.
You can use your voice now.
You
don't have to text.
You
don't have to text
at yourself in this chair when you look at Reggie, because it could have been you.
Well, it could
have
have been you.
And you didn't mean to kill.
No, I didn't mean to kill anyone.
No, who had their own families. And
No, I didn't mean to kill anyone. Each person has a family, has
will struggle forever because
think of all of them you affected.
You're a decent human being. You had your own
Think
dreams
of
and
all
goals.
them you infected.
Right?
With
yeah,
greed
exactly. Like you said,
and love.
Happened to anyone.
And you never thought it.
I never meant to do it.
When you were texting, that you were
I never meant to do it.
maintaining some level of being able to watch the road and.
Yeah, of course. Of course I thought, well, I can do this, I can handle this.